of all over the place. She's energetic. I think she's just actually doesn't have a lot of holes in her game, so she can score with the best of them. She can score from around the basket. She can score from the perimeter, mid-range, even better than the perimeter. She's a really good defender, and she's about as strong as a player has ever been. So watching her and Gustin battle with each other is one of my favorite things to do, because they're playing good basketball, legal. They're strong. They're pushing each other a little bit, but it's nothing. They're playing the game how the game's supposed to be played. And I think Vonnie, she rebounded the ball as well for us. So I think our team has a lot of faith in her. And when something breaks down or we don't know what's going on, we just throw the ball to Vaughn. And usually she's going to either make a great pass out to somebody, she's going to make a basket herself, she's going to draw a foul. It's just never a bad option.
Yvonne, can you talk about, you look like you're fired up to play against Gustin, and I know your last game was also against them, and you did pretty well that night too. But what was it like, and also when you got that fairly emphatic block shot against her, that must have felt pretty good, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's always fun. I really like playing against players like Lauren Gustin. I feel like it's a real test because she's such a great player. Like, it's a real challenge, and I know, like, maybe like some people would want to just like coast through stuff, but really being able to like compete with her, like it really is like energizing to me. So that kind of builds some like pride into my defense to like want to go after her, want to stop her, want to get the rebounds she usually gets, like, and stuff like that. So I feel like kind of like that competitiveness really like puts energy into like my defense against her. But like, credits to her, like she's such a good player, like she rebounds the ball like no other, so I really like, she's so good for that. But I feel like it's so nice to be able to have like that person like in this season like that I can play against.
And it's obviously a team game, but you take some pride in the fact that I think she had her season low rebounds.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like.
I know. I had to look at the stats to get a make sure, but like it is a team effort. But like for me, like I really like, it gets me excited that I'm able to like demonstrate that part of my defense and that part of my game through like guarding her that well.
Lisa, can you talk about, you guys finally are healthy again, right? You have Kaylee back, you have Maud back. Just how that depth is going to help you throughout the postseason here, and just how nice it is to finally be a complete team again when throughout most of the year you've been somebody or another has been out the whole year.
Yeah, I think with the addition of Mout and Kaylee, it just gives us more veterans that can be out there. I think that Kaylee has done everything. Mout hasn't played as many minutes as Lee has for us in late postseason and any regular season games even, but Kaylee's been a starter and a mainstay in our program for all the time that she's been here. And so every game that she's played as a Zag, except for maybe the last two, she's had a huge role, and she played well in those last two, but had a huge role for us. And I think our team, kind of like I mentioned Vonnie, it just gives us a little bit more known. We know what they're going to do. They've practiced it, they've experienced it, they've repped out, and our young players are great, and they're going to make huge impacts. But those guys are just a little bit more experienced. And this time of year, you rely on people to steady the storm. And so, I think adding Mout and Lee are great with that. And it proposes some problems. We're working through them, but we have rotation things to figure out, and that's changing some people's role on the team, and even theirs. They might have come in the beginning of the year and played a lot more or made a different impact, and then with their injuries, I think they're trying to figure out what their new role is as well. But I think we're getting it. Hopefully today I felt like we were better than we were against BYU and better than we were against San Diego. It was nice that we got Mout for 2 games prior to when we got Kaylee, so we kind of worked her through a little bit already, and I think we're just going to keep getting better at that part. And our team, they're just people that our team feels comfortable with on the floor, and the more people you can have like that, the better off your team is going to be.
Lisa, can you talk about the start of the second half? Just all of a sudden you put them down, put them with pressure, got up to 20 real early. Was that the key in the game for you?
I think so. I mean, that was a huge quarter, 27-10. We really wanted to compete. I mean, out of the halftime, that was the last thing I told the team, was that we have to compete harder. I mean, we're in a good place. We've done well, but we need to execute better, because there were a couple of our sets that we were calling and we're running the wrong thing, we're running it the wrong way, we weren't going to the option that we wanted. And that start of the second half, I don't know if it was a 10-0 or 12-0 run, whatever it was, we executed every play how it was supposed to be executed. And if we would have missed one of those shots, then it would have been okay, because we executed, but we didn't. So if you execute, the moral of the story is if you execute well, you're going to probably knock down the shots. We've got enough good players, and that's going to be in our benefit. But I loved how we started that half. It was of course, a pivotal changing point in the game.
Jeff?
Brenda, despite the fact that you guys broke it open in the second half, you kind of came out 10-2 to start the game. Did you feel like it didn't look like there was really much rust?
Yeah, I think just like Coach Lisa said, after halftime, it was just kind of executing play calls and kind of getting everyone on the same page. We all know that playing BYU is always going to be a battle. I mean, we're expecting that first half was what we expected, but we just tightened a few things up and tweaked a few things, and it's just awesome seeing shots go in and players execute and Vaughn going crazy, and it's just really fun.
Yeah.
Brennan, you talk about the start, like Lisa talked about. You hit a couple of big shots, and then you had 3 of those shots. Talk about the start of the second half.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we were just executing plays. We had about 3 or 4 plays that were kind of bam, bam, bam right off the bat that were everyone kind of set great screens for the right place, right times, and the shots just dropped. And, like Coach said too, like it doesn't matter if one might have not gone in, we still were executing in the next play. And I think it also shows our defense. After we scored, we got back and just kind of honed in our defense, made sure that the players weren't getting the shots they wanted to get, and it just kind of set us up for success in the second half.
Brennan, can you just talk about your experience, your first WCC tournament, one game, just what you thought out there is, you've been playing the Pac-12 your whole career, just coming over to the WCC in your first tournament game.
Yeah, March is so much fun. It's just like all the season is super fun, but the entire season is. But once you hit March, it's like anyone could beat anyone. It could be the worst team playing the best team in conference, but you don't know what's gonna happen. We've already seen so many upsets, so coming this game, it's just exciting because you don't know what's gonna happen. So we got to be on our game. I think the whole team was just fired up, ready to play. We knew we could play better than we did last time at BYU, and it's just getting started. And I'm really excited for what March is gonna hold.
Bonnie is obviously a physical game today with Gustin and Calvary. You got a bloody nose almost immediately, it seemed like.
She got a couple of them, huh?
Yeah.
How did that just kind of set the tone today for you, especially you missed your first couple shots, but after that you really were able to get it going. Was anything like that able to just kind of kickstart you?
I feel like maybe after my bloody nose, I feel like I was more focused on that than like my missed shots. So like honestly, like for me, I don't really remember my missed shots right now. So I feel like that maybe like distracted me. But I feel like if anything, whenever I miss a shot, like I get the rebound, kick it out to Linny, she makes a shot. So at the end of the day, like does my missed shot really matter? Like it doesn't. So I feel like that's the mindset I kind of had going forward. Like I just have to play my game. I have to play with my team. I have to get my team open, create advantages for them, and stuff is gonna come to me. So I can never be like swayed by the fact that maybe I'm not shooting the best at the beginning because it's just the first 2 minutes of the game. So I feel like that mindset really like propelled me forward throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Lisa, you haven't played back-to-back games in a long time. When you did, you were pretty successful at that tournament. What do the back-to-back days present that we wouldn't know, or what do you have to prepare for when you play on back-to-back days?
I think the depth that we have is a bonus to us. I think that's something that you guys all know, though. So I don't know. You guys are smart people in this room, but I would say you just have to flip your attention to something different. BYU has been a big rival in our conference for a long time, as long as they've been in here. And Pacific played us as tough as anybody did, and I think Portland's kind of become a new rival. So I think regardless of who we have, you're playing against an opponent at this time of year, but also you're playing for that next part. And so, we just try to rest as much as we can and try to stay focused on the new. I think what I'm trying to do all the time as a coach, and sometimes successful with, and trying to help these guys do, is just focus on right now. And so tomorrow we'll present new challenges, and we'll rest as fast as we can, and ice as much as we can, and then just look at the next challenge. And I think if you stay in the moment and if you stay present, that's the best success for those back-to-back games or short turnaround, or you don't know a lot. Right now we know a lot about these two teams, but once you get to the NCAA tournament, you're trying to prepare for someone who you don't know anything about. You just got to stay, take the information in, digest it the best you can, and figure out ways to be successful against it.
Yvonne, you nodded your head that whole time your coach is answering the question.
Yes, Monty.
Are there problems? Are there things that we don't know about when you have to play back-to-back games that you could kind of enlighten us on?
Probably just making sure that we come out with the same energy we did today for tomorrow. Obviously, like in like the tournament we had at the beginning of the year, like being able to come into every single game with the same amount of energy to be able to put that into our like game, like we have to be able to do that. So I feel like that's one of the hardest turnarounds, just getting our mindset right and getting our energy put towards stuff that need our energy, need our effort, need our concentration, our focus, but our attitude. Like that stuff I feel like is something that we need to focus on, like coming into this next game.
Well, everybody's in agreement with Brenna because you were nodding your head with what you love to say. How does it played in back-to-back days?
Yeah, I think we had a conversation last night before dinner, and it was about how when teams win a big game or something, there might be a little dip the next game in energy, and we're kind of focused on not letting that happen. So yeah, like those two said, it's just obviously physically making sure we're icing and rehabbing and everything to do, but also mentally staying engaged because Portland's a great team. If we don't come out ready, they're gonna.
Or Pacific.
Yeah,
Or Pacific. My bad.
Pacifics.
Oh my gosh. Pacific.
I was about to say that. It's okay.
One of
Brenna's
those
done.
teams. Those teams with the peace.
Yeah,
Yes.
the P schools. One of the P schools. Yeah, we just. You know what? Next question.
I was about to say, oh my
Gosh.
You can answer it both ways and we'll just run the one.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yvonne, you guys have plenty to be motivated by. Is playing the final game you'll probably ever play against BYU one more thing that got you fired up?
Honestly, I thought of that like after the game. I like realized that we're never gonna see them again, and I was like, oh my gosh! So I feel like that kind of brought a little bit energy to other people, but at the end of the game, it brought energy to me. Yeah.
Last question.
Brenna, was there anything different? I know the first half you weren't really able to get to your spots and get your shots, but in the second half, I know you mentioned those plays that you ran right out of the gate, but was there anything different that you saw that was able to get you a little more space to get your shot off?
You know, I think it's just the way the flow of the game goes. You know, sometimes the first half, you know, you don't get a lot of shots, and the second half it goes your way. It just depends on how the game's going. But we had a lot of players that were executing really well, and you know, the ball was going in the basket if it was for me or someone else. So as long, you know, we were scoring points. It just happened to go my way more in the second half than the first half. But it's just kind of the flow of the game. You never really know when the shots are going to be there.
We got time for one more.
Jim, do you have one?
You know, I was going to ask you about free throw shooting, because this is something I've noticed. You were not the best free throw shooter when you came to Gonzaga.
No.
70% last year, which was pretty good. Now 80%, and that's a major reason why this team is so good. I mean, you're another one, but talk about what you've done. You must have put a lot of work in.
Yeah, I definitely put a lot of work in. I feel like free throws is something we always work on as a team, but even in like my individual workouts or when I'm shooting by myself, I always implement like free throws into like my shooting just to like get that rhythm. Because if you take advice from Brenna, she said you just have to shoot them. Just got to find your rhythm. So I feel like that's something I really worked on. And then give credit to my mom. She always tells me to work on my free throws. So I feel like my percentage went up because I listened to my mother.
There you go.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.